Good morning and welcome to a very wet Treviso. I was hoping to visit Castle Franco today, but because of the weather I decided to spend it here in Treviso. And I'm going to take a little wander around and see what I can discover hidden in some of the back streets. And just as I start this video, I find this really interesting little Christmas shop selling nativity scenes and other ornaments as well. Really rather interesting. But what I actually want to show you is just up here. And it's rather an unusual fountain. One of the most unusual fountains I've come across on my travels. It's manufactured, was sculpted by a man called Matteo Sonaggiotto, who lived from 1810 to 1888. And it's quite an interesting statue. Only in Italy can you find statues like this. Most entertaining. But it's not just the only artefact here, because there's a well behind me. It looks like a bucket which enabled the person living on the top floor to actually get the water from the well. Really rather interesting. It's amazing what you find when you get off the beaten track and walk into the side streets, the back passages of a town and city. You find unusual sights like this. Really is really just surprise myself sometimes what I actually find on my travels. But there we go. Let's see what else we can find here in Treviso. It's nice to get out of the rain for a few minutes and walk undercover here. It's quite pleasant walking around these undercover colonnades. Oh, just behind me is the United Colours of Benetton. And of course, Benetton has its headquarters here in Treviso, and its founder, Luciano Benetton, was born here in 1935. But there's a lovely picture on the wall here of 7th of April 1944, when Treviso was bombed by the Americans. Americans bombed so many places in Italy, and Treviso was heavily bombed. But they've rebuilt Treviso almost as it was. And you can see, looking at the building, the line on the brickwork at the side, just where the rebuild actually took place. It's really rather interesting looking up there. They actually preserved that as part of the heritage of the building. Really is rather nice. But so many places around Europe were bombed, just in England and in Germany as well. And so many cities and towns in Germany were rebuilt just as they were before the war. You'd never know there'd been a war because of the way they've rebuilt it. But in England, of course, it's quite different. They just put up any old building that they do. You really have to compare places like Coventry with Dresden just to see how dreadful Coventry is in terms of architecture compared to Dresden. But it's nice that they've got this old picture up here, and the statue seems to have survived the bombing. Interesting. But anyway, let's head on and see what else we can discover here on a very wet Treviso morning. Along a little further down to the cathedral here in Treviso, dedicated to St. Peter. You can see the keys of St. Peter above the columns on the front. I've just been inside and had a look. It really is absolutely beautiful inside. And the first thing I came across was the relic. This was the body of a saint. And it's to St. Henry. Now, I don't know too much about him, and I've had a little look inside. There was nothing I could read that tells me who Henry was. So if I find any information, I'll put that up on the screen. But as cathedrals go, it's very simplicity in its design, but the ceiling was quite something. I did get out to the crypt as well. I wanted to go down there. There was a museum in there, but it was closed today. But the interior of the crypt was really rather beautiful. And I was very impressed with the drawings on the wall. Quite a few of the columns had drawings on them, which was really interesting to see. But yeah, what a beautiful cathedral. I do like walking around cathedrals when I travel, because they're all so individually different. And there's a nice crypt in there, crib in there as well, I should say. Because we're near Christmas, so they got the crib up, and that was rather impressive. So it's nice to see that. Just a shame that the weather is against me today. Oh my goodness me. Never mind. Let's walk on a little further and see what else we can find here in Treviso. Must be something to do while it's raining. And I've come up to the War Memorial. And what a fantastic structure this is. I've seen so many war memorials around Europe. This is one of the better ones. This sculpture was a man called Arturo Stagliano, and it was unveiled on the 4th of November in 1931 by His Majesty King Vittorio Emanuele III. It is actually called Gloria to the 630 people from Treviso who died during the Great War. And on the side you can see the statues of the grieving mothers. It really is quite beautiful. So many places put so much effort, and rightly so, into their war memorials. In England we just have basic crosses and things, but they have almost entire buildings, war memorials the size of buildings. It's absolutely beautiful to look at. You can see the statues at the top of the men carrying one of their comrades, and the grieving mothers around the side. Absolutely wonderful. But I'm getting absolutely soaked here. The temperature today is about 9 degrees, and it does feel like 9 degrees. There's a chill in the air. I don't do the cold. I do the warmth and the sunshine, not the cold. But I've had a fantastic morning just walking around Treviso, finding some unusual things, something different that I perhaps wouldn't have seen had I gone to Castle Franco today. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video. So thank you so much for watching from a very wet and rainy Treviso.